Yes. We are back. One SAF podcast, season 3. It's been a minute. If you don't know by now, this is M, and I'm joined with J, K, and T. So first, listeners old and new, thank you for your patience and sticking with us. It's been a long time. I think October 2021 was our last time we dropped an episode. So this episode today is to kind of like dust off the cobwebs, just to kind of do a little recap, just to get to feel and know where we've been, what we've been doing, all of that. So as always, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. In addition to all of our social platforms, we now can exclusively say we have our very own website. So you can find all of our content, everything centered around us, but not just the podcast, but the business itself, the foundation, on www.onesaf.co.uk. I'll say that again. That's www.onesaf.co.uk. So yeah, man, we're just adding more layers to. So boys, everyone all good? Everyone all good out there?
Let's ready to go.
Love that. So our listeners haven't heard us for a while, and they'll probably want to know why, because I've had people come up to me and say like, what's going on? Like, are you guys still doing it? Like, and I'm sure you guys will say the same. And I'm like, yeah, man, don't worry. Like, we ain't got anywhere to go. We haven't got anywhere to go, but we're not going anywhere, more like. So before we dive in, you might have heard the intro track that was just playing. Jay, give us a little kind of breakdown to kind of that track and kind of where and what it's about, how it's produced, and where our listeners can find it.
Yeah, well, that track there is called Palance. You know, that's something you say in Trinidad around the Caribbean. It means to party, enjoy yourself, fit, you know what I mean? Bacchanal, all them things there. That comes from the Life Is UKG project, produced by myself. Presented by Kinsman Enterprise. So the family, you know, we worked on a UKG project. That's actually my first official release of the year. So quite proud of that one. Some UKGs for the summertime and, you know, beyond, you know, just to keep the vibes going, get everyone feeling a bit positive and nice throughout the year. So
levels, man.
You can go check that out. We at kinsman.com/Jerome the Chef. And it's currently on all DSP.
Nice. And just whilst we're on that, obviously, what I can speak from my personal point of view, I kind of jumped in towards the end of the creation and formation of that product or that project. So we kind of dipped in and done a few tweaking and this and that. But just from a musical standpoint, how was it? How was it like? Because you produced all of those tracks like on your own. Like, how was it for you? Like, and what inspired you to do a Life Is UKG track?
I don't know. I guess maybe just being in the sun all the time, like having that feeling, you know, taking me reminiscing of a good time when man used to actually go out feeling young. You know what I'm saying? So just trying to keep that like keep the youthful energy within me alive, and that was part of my growing up. So musically, it was just something that I like working on, man. It just comes easy to me making garage beat. I love the genre. So yeah, it was just fun to make, fun to hear you guys' ideas and try and bring your guys' ideas into it. You know, trying to interpret it and put it on the track. So yeah, it was really good.
And Kay, obviously, you was part of some of those sessions towards the end as well. What was your stance? Sort of like, what was your take on it? In terms of your angle.
Listen, we've been doing this since school days, so let's not even play around here, yeah? Like many times in bedroom, you know what I mean? Microphone, mixer, you know what I'm saying? We're making our own tracks, spitting our own bars and all stuff like that. So I tell you what, it's nice to do it under a company now. It's not just some little bedroom thing, some little boys in a basketball court spitting bars and all stuff like that.
Which we can still do if we needed to.
Yeah, obviously, because I'm the one bar king, just putting it out there, by the way. And it's just nice, man, that you can support your brother to do his passion under your own company, man. You don't have to beg no one for no licensing. You don't have to ask no one for permissions. We have our own freedom in our own scope. And you know what I mean? It's Jay's passion, man. I'm of course passionate about music as much as Emma's as well. But it's Jay's passion too. He's been doing this, man. Like when, I mean, we had our own crew and that, and then the crew kind of went here, there, center, forward, back. But Jay stuck at it. He was like the top guy when it came to the tracks, to making the tracks and to the bars. So for him to come in full circle, be part of a company, produce his own album, bring in his boys to look over it, and now it's out there being sold. What? And you don't have to beg no one? Come on, man. Like, if that's not stepping up, man, what is? You know what I mean? So yeah, man, bless Jay. Bless for being a part of it. Bless for allowing me to be a part of it.
Yeah, man. Solid piece of work, man. I was literally, and it's no lie, because I've started running again. So I played that on my run, and it's just a good body of work, man. It really is a good body of work, guys. You got to check it out. There's also merch attached to it as well. T, obviously being a consumer, on the consumer side as well, what are your thoughts? Any kind of particular tracks or any feedback? We haven't really even asked you, like, really, like, any kind of feedback, good or bad, man. Like, we're live. Don't matter. We've got big shoulders.
Yeah, man. Nah, do you know what it is? Yeah, for me, it's all positive, and that's not even from a biased standpoint. Obviously, growing up, garage was the one. Do you know what I mean? For us, going out skanking, these youths don't know about that. Do you know what I mean? So,
blood, man.
yeah, it's literally in our blood. You hear that beat and your shoulders starts to go, hands in the air.
100.
You go for it. Do you know what I mean? So for me, when I heard and like just I was just like, okay, cool, because what I've been doing lately, especially like Em said, doing exercise, garage is the one. When you're doing exercising, if you want to get something that will hype you up, garage is the one, right? So for me, it's in the gym. If I'm in the gym, I'm skipping or whatever, it's in there, man, and I'm loving it. I'm loving it. So just to hear that kind of brought back a lot of memories as well. It's not just now, it's about the memories attached to those beats. Do you know what I mean? When we were 15, 16, feeling like we knew everything about the world and taking on whatever we were doing, and then to actually look back and think, we didn't know a thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Just
So
enjoying life.
yeah, we've grown, we've evolved as young men now, but those tunes there, they still take you back to when you was younger, but just wiser now. So yeah, man, levels.
Back when chomps were 10p. You understand? You understand?
Why do we grade time by chomps and Freddos?
Because that's how it is, man. That's just how it is. Takes you back. But that's not the only, obviously, October 21, that wasn't the only thing or things that we've been doing. Obviously, we've been away for what, it has been a minute. Like, we can't even lie. Like, normally, traditionally, like, you kind of give it a few months and we go again. But there's a reason for that, people. There really is a reason for that, and it's just a process and a journey that we've not only have we done things collectively, but individually we've been doing bits and bobs in that, and that's all part. We've said it on season 1 and season 2. It's not a gimmick about the table. It's about building that table. I'm sure we'll kind of share kind of some individual things, but just to kind of get, because we've got new subscribers. Shout out to the new subscribers and the old. We've seen the subscriber base go up over during our hiatus, so to speak. So lessons, if you're kind of new to the game, hopefully we'll get you up to speed as quick as possible. Season 1, season 2, boys. They were different in a way, but the direction's the same. And now we're coming to season 3. What's season 3 about? And then we can kind of chat about the things that we've been doing to kind of secure that structure of the table that I've mentioned earlier. Anyone can jump in, man.
Brother,
yeah, man.
Yeah.
Go on, K, man. Go
No,
on.
man. Chat. I can see your spirit. I can see it.
Yeah, man. I'm ready to go, man. Because I'm just excited. You know. Thank you, K. For me, season 1 and season 2 was about laying the foundation, right? It was for our audience to actually get to know us, to get to know where we've come from. So
100.
that's what we basically did. Season
Yep.
1 was us really telling our stories, our experiences, and what we thought should be happening, what didn't happen with us. Season 2, again, was the next step. So like we were talking about just the music, about garage, where we used to listen to when we were younger. I hope listeners and viewers as well, because we're on YouTube, will see the evolvement of us, right? And like, yeah, man, like you said, it's been a while, and we haven't been just been quiet, right? We, during that period where everyone thought we were quiet, we were working our way behind the scenes. We went to a Black Business Conference. We had an away day as just boys, just to take time out, you know, as men, and just sit there. Back in the day, men would sit around the fire and talk. We don't do that no more. But we got the opportunity to do that as a group of men. Highly, highly recommend it. Like we've been talking about, we went to a Black Business away day in Birmingham. Massive, massive learning curve. Just getting together and seeing Black people in business, you get that sense of, right, I can do this. We can do this. It's not just words. There are people out there who are doing it. So I hope that comes through for season 3. I'm excited because we're going to be talking about other topics that will just show the level that we've grown to. But yeah, man, let me not waste too much time. Kay, jump in, my brother. Jump in.
Sorry. Just while she said that, just before you jump in, Kay. What T mentioned there, those journeys or some of those kind of events that we've been doing, you can view those on our website. So as I mentioned at the start, www.1saf.co.uk, there's a page, a section on there, table building, where it will give you kind of like a blog, or kind of like a diary of some of the things that we do. Not everything, because that would be a very long page, but some of the key things that we've been doing during this hiatus, but even before that, you'll be able to see, just to kind of see where we're going with it. So yeah, I just wanted to add that bit in there. Sorry, Kay, go for it, man.
I mean, no, sorry, man. This is all our platform, man. Yeah, I mean, yeah, man. So the question of what is season 3 for us, and the transition from 1 to into 3. T licked that down, man, like straight up and down. There's a need out there for our people, man. There's a need of grounding. There's a need of direction, and there's a need to re-inform the information that we've been taught by Western society that's caused us to be in a downfall state where we love other nations and we love our own nations less. What we are saying and what we are doing is sharing experiences and also directions to show you lot love. Love in the sense of, sometimes it's not a nice word, sometimes it's not a kind word, but what's the overall direction of that word? To bring you back home, man. It's to bring you back home. It's to bring you back to a state where you can thrive amongst your own people, where you don't target your own people. You're not a parasite to your own people. You actually give them a benefit. Now, we are doing this in person. Just look at what we've done throughout our journey. This, as we said, throughout all the seasons, we talk about these things anyway. We have group chats and all that stuff that we talk about and share things, and we discuss and go back and forth anyway. So you're just only hearing what we would already talk about. This is nothing new to us. This is nothing new. But look at what has happened now that we've added direction and guidance and love for ourselves. It's turned from just talking to talking on platforms, to setting up a business, to having your own website. Are you crazy? Are you crazy? Just a group of guys talking? Well, you can do it too. It don't have to be the same field. It don't have to be the same type of industry. But if you have a group of people that you know and you trust and you talk to on a daily, weekly basis, why aren't you building something?
100%.
You understand?
Yep.
So yeah, man, this is what we are doing here.
Said it better, man.
Season 3, we're showing you the build. We're not just talking about it, we're showing you. Yeah, man.
Yeah. And it adds a bit of accountability as well. It adds a bit of accountability, because there's a lot of talkers, man. There's a lot of talkers, and I don't want to fall into that category of just being a talker. And it was still new to the game on certain aspects and certain industries that we want to be involved in. But the fact that we're actively trying to pursue and hit those heights and build certain things. And you mentioned about business, which we'll talk about in later episodes and stuff like that. So yeah, there's a lot to kind of cram into potentially 8 to 10 episodes. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Jay, season 3 for you, but also kind of on top of season 3, what have you been doing over in at the other side of the world?
Yeah, season 3. Well, first I want to touch on like 1 and 2 and how important they were, like both T and K said, in setting the foundation to letting the listeners know who we are as people, what we've been through in our lives, and what kind of shaped us and influenced us to be the people that we are today. So, in saying that, season 3 is what we're going to be sharing with people, the type of people that we mean to be going forward. You know what I'm saying? It's and we're gonna do that by showing examples, like leading by example. So season 3 is more leading by example. We're not just talking, like Em said. We're not moaning or talking about the plight of the black man, and not doing nothing about it, not putting in the works to change our circumstances. So season 3,
the difference.
Yeah, season 3 is more of putting in the works, change our circumstances. So we are one step away from positive outcomes. And in saying that, I've just been in Trinidad being a farmer, doing farming, trials and tribulations of a farmer, enjoying it, enjoying the soil, enjoying the weather. And yeah, it's much harder than I anticipated, but it's a learning curve. And I think it's an aspect of everyone's lives that it's a necessity. So if what I can learn and pass on to my friends and my people through my experiences, I'm more than happy to be that person, because I think it's vital and it should be taught in schools everywhere, etc. But obviously we know we know why it's not. But at least if someone in the circle knows and can pass on that knowledge, then that's what I'm here for.
100%. Touch on it, because the farming thing, like in the UK, like let's just be generic about it. Like you don't really hear much or see much black farmers in the UK. So there's not really an infrastructure for us to learn that type of industry. And it's a big boy industry. Like, Don't get it twisted. I know when people travel, they see a lot of greenery and animals or whatever, but that is one of the foundations to this economy and agriculture. So we have to kind of put that into perspective. But in terms of things that you've been involved in, or even things that you've learned, I'm sure we'll touch on it on later episodes as well. This is just a recap, but just to give a flavor of kind of the transition of what you've had to learn, what you've had to do, and things that people might not know about that industry might actually be quite beneficial for our listeners.
Yeah. Well,
any interesting projects you've been involved in or anything like that?
Well, yeah, we've been working a lot with the Moruga Hill rice, which is a lost grain of rice that was preserved by the American people. So they were the black American people that fought for the British in the Civil War. They were given land in Trinidad by the order of the Queen, and they brought with them this rice. And this rice has now been lost everywhere else, but it was kept through generations and handed down through generations in Trinidad. And now it's been found again by the outside world, and we've been doing testings and doing the work to protect the rice, getting it a geographical indicators, to making sure that it's protected. No one could come and steal the genomes, and people with more money could just take it and plant it, and cut out those who actually kept it for all these generations. So yeah, that's basically been the most important thing, as well as developing my farm. It's just trying to build bricks bit by bit and get everything set up to make it more streamlined.
And that's in searing heat, by the way, people. Which adds a whole new dimension.
I implore people who know people overseas, if you know they have land and they ain't doing nothing with that, encourage them, man. I know it's hard. Jay knows it's hard. T knows it's hard. Yeah, you understand? But encourage them to do something with that land, because these other nations see that land and they see gold, man. They see gold. And we have that land just from hand me down from generation to generation. and we don't see it. We just see dirt. We just see dirt, man. And this was one of the discussions that I had with the locals, because they have land, yet they aspire to living in the city with brick house and tower blocks. Trust me, that's not where the value is.
They aspire to live out the country in America, in the UK, in Canada. That's where they aspire to be.
And you can never afford land there. So why are you giving up your generationally owned inheritance land to go live in a house on a land where you can never own? You have to understand what you have, man. I get it. Impoverishment is hard. Crime is hard. Trauma that we have, man. But unless we change the pattern of behavior, how is the outcome going to change?
True.
Build the land, man.
Yeah, man.
I would even go a step further, brother. I would even say, like, listen, for those of us that have still got family back home, that have got land, right? Go and build.
Go and build.
Don't just encourage them to do something. Go and build. Yeah? Because believe it or not, your kids will appreciate that. You yourself will appreciate that to start with, because it gives you that sense of belonging. A lot of us are lost, man. And that's because we don't have a sense of belonging. Yeah? So if you're a father out there and you're a mother out there and you got parents or grandparents that have got land, I've started that process of like, yeah, granted, I want that land and I'm going to build. Why? I'm not saying, yeah, move out there. I'm not saying go out there and live out there if you don't want to, but you can still build out there. You can still take your kids on holiday out there. Like, that brings me to another question as well, because I felt like this when I went back home, was there's something about just being one with nature, right? That takes you to a different level than, it's almost therapeutic.
Yep.
Right. So I wanted to ask Jay, like, how was it for you, that transition, obviously moving back home and start that whole process? How did you feel? Did you still feel yourself? Was there a difference?
I could say wholeheartedly, I felt much better in my spirit. Spiritually, I felt much better. You know what I'm saying? The anxieties and worries and troubles that I had while living in the UK, they were put into perspective, and then I started to realize, okay, this is what we as humans really need to connect with in order to really fulfill our truest potential. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is what we need to do to be better people. And yeah, there's something about walking barefoot and connecting with the earth that is can't be found anywhere else. You just have to do it. You know what I'm saying? So it's not easy. By all means, it's not easy. Gonna have stresses, ups and downs, but definitely more beneficial to your spirit, which in turn is better for your mental health, which in turn is better for your mood and everything, your health. It has a trickle-on effect.
100. And you just hit a key word there, just the word connection and connect. And one SAF DNA people, especially people our age, we have to realize that. And I don't want to start the first pod on a morbid note, but time is ticking. And what I mean by that is, obviously,
100.
We all have connections to our quote unquote motherlands or lands of our ancestors. If we don't make action now, then there might be a complete disconnect. We have to make sure we keep that connection going before. So if you've got family over there, they might be getting on, and then if they go, then someone else or another nation or whatever might take over, and then that whole just legacy is gone. You know what I'm saying? So it's important to. I've had this conversation with some of my siblings. It's important to kind of get out there, get your feet on that ground, because I think it's a missing piece for a lot of people, especially in the UK. I think if you don't get out to those places, I don't think you can be a complete person, knowing that your start in life didn't actually start in this country, if that makes sense. Don't know if you guys see where I'm coming from. Like, it's important to kind of go back there and especially to show the younger children Like life wasn't always like
Yeah.
this, iPads, this, that, whatnot. Like this is the reason why you've got this is because of this, and that's important. That's
To
something
know
that
where
we
you're
need.
from, to know where you're going. You know what I'm saying? Know where you come
There
from,
you
to know
go.
where you gotta go.
The thing
100.
is,
100%.
you
And
mentioned like having connection with back home. If there's a connection there, it means it was always there. But what was it in your development as a person where you felt I need to connect?
Good question. It's always been in me, man, because I say we, because I've been fortunate enough and I'm at an age where I've been able to see my grandparents are the first generation Windrush generation. So they had a life before they came over to the UK. They were the first people to come over. So having that connection, seeing their ways, seeing how they lived in the UK, but knowing that, hold on, my grandparents have got a different accent to my day-to-day people I go to school with, or even family members. Like, okay, so there's a difference. So immediately my life is a little bit different to maybe my peers or some of my peers like that I go to school with, because I've got a different culture. And then there's something burning inside me to go, well, I need to know more, because that's something unique that I have. And it's funny you asked that question, because that is one of the things that I've done in this hiatus that we had, is try to reconnect our family, or my family, by setting up a family reunion, because I felt it's important. Um, this year would have been 100 years since the birth of my grandfather, who was born in Jamaica, and it just felt fitting. I've got a group chat with my cousins. 6 years ago, I said, like, guys, we need to all get together, man, because you just never know. Like, apart from funerals and weddings, which are kind of premeditated in a way, like, let's just prove that we can kind of get together, like, as a family, and reconnect without the pressure of having to buy a suit for a wedding or having to buy a suit for a funeral. Like, let's try and do something positive. Let's not have those moments where we have to talk about, oh, I remember when this person. Let's be in the presence of these people. You know what I mean? So one of the key things for me, and one of my something that I will take with forever, and I know I'm going on in a large circle answering your question, Kate. But one of the key things for me this year, since obviously since we've been on air, was setting up that family reunion, setting a blueprint to say to families like mine, from one SAF background, from the diaspora, that you can do it. That's all it was, and it was an absolute success in my head, and from the feedback that I got. People want to do it again. Obviously, there was a lot of hard work and blood, sweat, and tears, but every sweat, blood, tear that was poured or shed, it was worth it. To see the look on my nan's face, to see kind of the feedback that she got, and yeah, it was unbelievable. But in answer to the question, it's always been in me to kind of keep that connection going, because it just feels like I said earlier about missing. It's like a missing piece, and I'm trying to find that missing piece of that jigsaw puzzle. I'm like looking everywhere, and then someone told me, "Well, it's not. You're not going to find it in your own home. It's not there. The missing piece is there." So I know where the missing piece is. So it's up to me to try and get out there. So that connection has always been part of my life, and I think that's what's inspired me, or what inspired me to do what I do with the help of my family. It wasn't just me, but someone had to spearhead it. So that connection, that passion, that want, actually created something positive this year as well. So hopefully that answered your question.
100%, man. That's deep blessings. And we've all been luckily privileged to see a bit of that journey. The organization, the creation, and the aftermath too. There's a lot of aftermath. I don't think a lot of people realize when you do events, etc. There's a lot of aftermath. T will know that as well. You understand what I'm saying? And sometimes the aftermath is more work than putting the event on, because there's an expectancy of follow-up, and you have to follow up, because if not, it could die out.
Yeah.
And then we talk about legacy. Like, where's the legacy then? Like, the aftermath is almost more important than the event.
Absolutely.
You understand
Absolutely.
what I'm saying? So
And that's a very good point. And to counteract that, and because legacy was one of the key drivers, we had to make sure that we've got something that will never go away. So we created a website, which was a hub for the family. So everything was documented, pictures. We had videographers. So that event can never go away. People can go back to it. They can download images. They can even get images printed through us and our businesses. So it was important to kind of have something that's a mainstay. And because there was a lot of things about family trees and stuff like that, and family history, it's something that can always be added to. So if another family member comes along, like, that can be added to and updated, and a message can go out to the whole family saying, okay, update 2.5 is available, blah blah blah. So yeah, legacy is very key, and the aftermath was that was probably more pound for pound, probably more strenuous, because now you've got to kind of make sure that that foundation is properly set. So yeah.
Yeah, man. There's so many things that's just going through my head right now, and one of the main things, like you said, is that family tree. Yeah, because one thing I realized is our counterparts can backtrack on their family trees into the 1700s, 1600s, some of them. Yeah,
Yep.
they got ancestry. We don't have that, right? Like, speaking to my granddad, it was literally, I can only trace back to 2 generations. That's it, Dan. So that's his granddad,
Wow.
right? After his granddad, he doesn't know
Hmm.
because nothing was ever written down. Because
Yeah.
we were uprooted, things were burnt during the Civil War and stuff like that. Those histories were there, but they were burnt, even to a point where birth certificates had to get reissued. They were estimates. Yeah. So we don't have that. And you starting that, that's key, man, because someone else will look 100 years from now, and guess what? They will have their own ancestry, because that hub is always going to be there.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And like
Yeah.
I was saying before, I'm so passionate about this because I feel like the youth of today are lost because they don't have the sense of belonging, and that's key, man. Just having your whole family in that room also just reinforces the bond that you guys would have as a family. Because, as you know, in this country, we're too busy, man. Sometimes you might spend even 2 weeks without speaking to your grandparents. You're thinking, oh, not even my own mum, a week can go by. Do you know what I mean? Because you're just running. It's a rat race. But doing that brings you closer together. Doing that makes you realize, oh, we've got plumbers in the house. We've got electricians in the house. We've got so many professions in the same room, the same family. So if we wanted to do something, you could actually make something out of your whole family. Say, listen, I need a plumber. I'll pay you. I'm an electrician. You pay me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I'm a chippy. I've done carpentry. You pay me. Do you know what I mean? So money could circulate just in the same family.
Yeah.
Because other nations do that
All the time.
all the time.
100%.
So that's levels, man.
And that's what we're getting out of it, like just connecting with people and just realizing, oh my word, my cousin is a plumber, or this person's got a degree in this, or this one's got a black belt in karate. Like, it's like, what? Like, or all these skills and talents, and like, yeah, it's mad. And like you said, ancestry was a big thing. We created like a legacy folder for all my nan, but also her children. Yeah, that's a long story, but yeah, just so they've got a history and they've got it physically. But that was hard, like going back to like the 1700s, 1800s. It was hard looking online, trying to connect the dots. It uncovered a lot of stuff, really, and there's still more to be done. Like I've got a plan a session in with one of my aunties to kind of dot some I's and T's that I wasn't able to do at the time of the event. So there's still it's ongoing, and we'll dig as deep as we need to go. But yes, it was such a rewarding kind of thing. Some people weren't going to go, and they turned up and they were like, I'm so glad I came. Like, I've got a lot out of it. But in terms of birth certificates, etc., marriage certificates, like that seems to be a theme within our group. Would you care to share
Man starting his
or
own legacy.
enlighten our listeners with your situation, T?
Yeah, man. Yeah, good things. Like I said, we've been building. Got married 2 months yesterday.
Level.
So
Yeah.
yeah, man, it was a long time coming, put it that way. If you do listen to previous podcasts, I'm sure a few listeners would know I'm such an advocate on marriage. And for me to do it rather than just saying it was again a testament to what we're trying to do here. Right? We're not just talking, we're putting things into action. So yeah, got married. Best decision probably I've made on so many levels.
Why?
I'm sure you guys have got questions.
Well, why? Why is that? That's the best decision. That's a big statement, but I believe it in you. But tell the listeners why you feel that.
100%. It's the best decision based on a number of things, not just on a personal level. But I've got a little one. I've got a daughter. It's the best decision for her because you're setting a standard. Unfortunately, yeah, things didn't go well with her mother, but it doesn't mean I need to keep repeating that, right? So you have to refocus and then realize actually I need to live my life not just for me, but for the next ones to come, right? So that's decision number one. It's the foundation for her. That's solid. She will have an example of what a good relationship is about and how two people can coexist and how to live with a man. Because a lot of kids out there, they're living without a father in the house, right? And that's just history repeating itself. So that's number one. Number two, on a personal one, things are better when there's two of you. More money, right? A problem shared is a problem halved, right? If you are doing it the right way, I have to stress this point. Marriage has to be done with reality insight, not just out of feelings.
Yeah.
But the reality of knowing relationships are hard. Marriage is even going to be harder, right? You have to know you will go through trials and tribulations, but you know you're not going to give up on it and you work through. That's number one. I have to stress on that point. Because if you look at the rates, 80% of marriages are ending in divorce. That's why I'm stressing on that point.
Is that
right? Overall, but it's even worse from one SAF DNA. Because the other key part that comes into it is if you then look at the stats of people that get married who are coming from single parent households are even at a greater disadvantage, right? So when I was talking about setting an example and setting a standard for my daughter, then it's making sure that she is at least halfway to a better advantage, right? Than being at a disadvantage.
That one step
Yes,
closer,
it's
man.
not with a mouth. Exactly. We're always talking about that one step closer to success and to positive outcome. That's that, right? And for me, I'm not gonna lie, boys. You need to get to a point where in life you get older, you realize you need someone with you to share this journey, share these moments. You can't be a 60-year-old man just living by yourself and that's life. That's not life. Right? And legacy. You talked about legacy and talked about being in a room with your nan. I want that. I want a piece of that. Because for me, my parents came over here with myself. I was not born here. So they would look at me then as the first generation or the second, technically, of the diaspora, right?
Mhm.
So I've got to realize after me, like I was saying about the land, about building, my kids, whichever way they go, there might be a connection lost from back home completely. So if I keep that connection alive by being married and actually having that marriage certificate, and then they come in and like, oh yeah, granddad, great granddad got married this day, that day. He had a podcast, he had a group of friends that he had who were building, and I can go online and I can look him up. That's all I can do.
And could you speak to more of the feeling of like after your ceremony and being in the room and looking at all those generations and both families coming together? What was like that feeling of like sitting back and seeing that? Like, it seems like almost surreal to me to be able to experience something like that.
It was priceless. So to give a backstory, then I only remember of one wedding I was a part of in my family, in my whole entire family. Yeah, that was one of my uncles that came over from New Zealand. Obviously, I had family flying from different parts of the country, of the world. I mean, I was literally a pay boy at their wedding, right? And to have them and to have my auntie actually officiate the wedding, who I was a page boy of,
It's like a full
on their
circle
wedding,
moment right there, isn't it?
was surreal. Do you know what I mean? And to also see the look of, how do I put this? Just proud, like on my parents' face, of like they're proud of the man that I've become. Like the tears were there, the smiles were there, everything was there. It was just surreal. And then obviously looking at my wife and realizing I'm making a lifetime commitment to yourself, not based on the fact that I love you, based on the fact that reality has been checked again and again, and realizing actually this works. This works not on based on emotion. This works based on our core values. This works based on the fact that we sit down and we have conversations and actually say, listen, how would we tackle this if this happens? Okay, yeah, we agree. About kids, how will we raise our kids? All like this. I said, oh yeah, we agree. If we don't agree, can we discuss further? Can we do this? Can this actually work? Because it's not going to sustain us 50 years saying I love you every day. That's not going to sustain me. What's going to sustain me is you being my best friend and actually knowing. I always give this analogy of, if you're going on a journey, let's say the time is 6 hours. Yeah. That journey can be 2 hours, can feel like 2 hours because you're with someone you get along with so much. You're listening to the same music, you're vibing, you're enjoying yourselves. You get into that car with someone you don't get along, trust me. That's when you find out.
Oh,
Boy.
I've been there.
Well, I'll tell you what, that's one, like, just to add on to what you just said there in terms of that getting in that car, because that's one of the key things I said at the start of my relationship was that also, so you mentioned about it being a 6-hour journey and whatever, there's an opportunity when one person gets a bit tired, the other person can take, if you can both drive, obviously. That's something that I've done also over the last year, is learn how to drive. But if you can both drive,
Yeah, my levels.
one person might start getting sleepy, whatever, the other person can take the wheel. And you need to kind of put that into the relationship as well, because you're not always going to be 100%. There might be a time when, I don't know, just work or kids or whatever gets on top of you. If you claim to be what you say you are at that altar, then that car analogy needs to be in place as well. If getting tired, I've got to be available to pick up or take the wheel whilst you recover, whilst you get a little bit more sleep or whatever like that. So that's important to kind of have that understanding, and that makes it, once again, that's another thing that will make that car journey easier as well. So yeah, 100%.
100%.
And yeah, I was fortunate enough to be there. The emotion in not only outside but inside the venue itself was there to be seen. You're absolutely right. I saw the looks on your parents' faces throughout the day, and this felt like, if I was being honest, and I didn't have this conversation with any of your parents, but just by seeing their face, it kind of felt like a weight was lifted. Like their faces were beaming to say, like, you know what I mean?
Finally, you did it.
Especially your dad. Like he was so like walking around. He was just he didn't stop smiling. Like, and yeah, just to see all that and everything that happened in that day was just top, man. Like, it's something to aim for. Really is, man. And just the fact that you spoke it in season 1 or 2, I think it was season 2 actually, when we spoke about marriage, and amongst the
relationships,
amongst the group here, there was kind of differences of opinion, but for you to speak it and then deliver, that's well worth there being a hiatus for us, man. That if they're the outcomes from us having a little break, then boy, that's what it's about. So yeah, respect on that one,
man. If I can just jump in there, because you said something that's important there about you just observing parents and seeing how they are. Listen, if I can say something to someone, your parents will always want what's best for you. Yeah. So whatever differences you might have with your parents and whatever you may think of them, where you are in life right now, your parents will always want what's best for you. And that feeling of relief that you saw in their faces was because there were wars before then, because there was pressure. You need to get married now. You need to get married. I'm like, nah, let me get through the process. I knew what I was doing, but to them, because there wasn't any assurances of where this is going, especially after what happened with the mother of my child and how that situation ended, it was one of those situations where it's like, right, we don't know what you're doing. We just need to make sure you're on the right path. So whatever situation you're going through, viewers and listeners, know your parents will always want what's best for you. And that's what you saw there.
100.
Level D there, man. And yeah, and just being a participant as well. I have to say thank you for that as well. Because wow, the fact that you even put us on, like, as far as I'm concerned, the front table was obviously where you and your wife was sitting, but then the second table, in my opinion, are those people that you hold dear to your heart. The fact we were sitting on there, like, respect. And the whole spirit of the whole event, man, it was something different, man. As I said in the past, like, it felt like a theater. It felt like a event, a show, and I was just an observer. And I've never seen a wedding done like ever. So commendation to you and your wife and to whoever else set that up, man. Yeah. It was just amazing, T. It was amazing. Amazing.
Yeah, man.
That's all I can say, man. And the wedding event wasn't just for the show. You know what I mean? It wasn't just for the show. It was an actual gathering of two family bloodlines and the ceremony on joining that. And that you made that so evident. And boy, yeah, it gave me something to think about, T. I don't believe in marriage in the modern day times. You lit a spark. Yeah, and that's part of the build that we can all learn from each other, innit? Like,
exclusive. Everyone's hearing this.
Yeah, it is exclusive. I'm not gonna lie. I don't believe in.
Go back to listen to relationships. Yeah,
I don't believe in marriage.
And listen to what Kay was saying. That's what I'm saying.
I don't believe in marriage in this modern era. In my parents' era, in my grandparents' era, I do believe marriage was wholesome back then, and I think you brought it into the modern era by tapping into the past.
100%.
I really do. And don't forget your parents as well. Sorry.
No, I was gonna, like, you mentioned about modern, like, one thing modern that him and T and his wife took away was the phone thing. We have to speak on that because that's important. Like,
yeah, that was a different vibe too.
No phones, like, obviously not no phones, like everyone's phones were locked away like it's a concert at O2 or something like that. But like the key moments, put your phones down, put them away. Enjoy it. Like, stop being behind the screen. Like, that elevated that whole day like tenfold, because then it switched the button on everyone, because everyone does it. Like everyone will get their like, but it switched the button to say, hold on a minute, I'm here for them, not me. I'm not here to just record it and then whatever. I'm not that kind of person that will just put it straight on socials anyway. But we know how the world is. So yeah, I just wanted to jump. Sorry, carry on, Kay, but I just wanted to mention that because that's important.
No, that was very important, man, and
Yeah,
it was just amazing. The food was amazing. Everything was just good. Everything was good. I just want to mention about the parents as well, man, because obviously I've never met your parents before that event, Dirty, and I made it a purpose of mine to at least introduce myself. And I done that with your mom and with your dad. I done it with your dad, unfortunately, but I bumped into him or he bumped into me during dancing. You know what I mean? And he turned around and he gave me the same smile that is on your face, T. All right, so you can't deny your father. He's got the same.
You mean you can't deny me?
Yeah, he
Podcast,
can't deny you have the same smile
Jerry
as your
Springer
dad,
style.
bro. You got the exact same smile. The fact I bumped in and he turned around, he put two hands on my shoulder and he just gave me that smile. And he was like, I was like, that's T right there, fam. You know what I'm saying? And then when your mom came up and done her speech as well, I can't remember the word. You got to remind me, T. She advised your wife to say this name. I believe it was like a tribal name to you to kind of bring you back home. Please remind me what that name is, man, because that hit me home.
That might be.
You don't want to say. Okay, no problem.
No problem.
No, but you know what it is. No. I would say because yeah, man. So in cultural, we've got what we call totems. Yeah, where each tribe has got an animal totem to them, right? So this is the funny part. In my tribe, our totem are monkeys, right? Irony of it, right?
I'll refrain from
right. So it was just like when something is happening, we have certain words that we use to acknowledge our totem, right? And that's what my mum was doing. She was just letting my wife know that this is what we do. But moving slightly away from that, I just want to touch on something that you said there about taking it back to how I tapped in to the older generation. That's key. That was key. It will always be key. Because like yourself, I don't believe in the modern day marriage, right? So you've got to find one way to blend the two. And like you said there, it was a way of blending the two of the past era to the modern era to actually say, okay, cool. I still want marriage, but I'm going to try and tap into the olden era as much as possible. That meant that me and my wife have had long discussions on how we see each other, where we are in a relationship, who's who in a relationship. Someone has got to be a goalkeeper. Someone has got to be a striker. Who's who? We can't all be goalkeepers. We can't all be strikers. Right? Those are the conversations that we've had. And that's key.
Man, honestly. And yeah, just FYI for you people listening, no, his wife does not call him monkey.
Only you.
You know what happens behind closed doors.
You understand? Yeah.
I like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because they have marriage vows, etc. And just for him, and they don't want to renege on their marriage vows whatsoever. So
see this guys. Anyway, like moving on swiftly. Mr. K, like he's trying it. He's trying it now. He's getting comfortable. He's getting back into the flow of the poddy.
Yeah, put him on the spot, man.
You know what I mean? What have you been saying the last 18, 24, whatever months it is that we've been away? Talk to us, man.
Yeah, man. We've all been doing our own individual bills, and we've all experienced our own different motions, and everything has a positive end, I believe. If it doesn't, then what are we doing all this for? So mine has been a bit of a trial and tribulation towards a positive end, and that is mainly around organizational challenges and organizational practices. For the long short of it, I no longer allow certain levels of treatment to be done unto me or unto people who I know and love and care for by organizations, whether governmental or local, etc. And what this means is that I will use my knowledge of my fields that I've worked in to support those of one SAF DNA, or which are those who are close to me, not to be victimized by these organizations, because the treatment and maltreatment that is done unto our people is next to none. And I have to go through the fire to understand that. Boy, I could even go into scripture. Like, there's no longer baptism by water; it's now baptism by fire. You understand what I'm saying? It's no longer John's baptism; it's baptism through Christ, which is through fire, and that fire is challenging because it's not comfortable. It's not comfortable, and what that means is that you have to turn against the people who pay you, turn against the people who you initially feel are too big for you to handle. And you have to understand that these people are people too. And it's a new day for this black man. It's a new day for this black man.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying?
Loud and clear.
Yeah, man, we no longer have to fight with our fists. I'm still going to fight you, but it's going to be by email. I'm still going to fight you, but it's going to be by quoting section 1.3 in policy X, Y, and Z. That's how I'm going to fight you.
Levels.
You understand?
In doing so, yeah, do you think it has become less? I know you said before about these entities seem too big for us to challenge. Has going through the fire and coming out as you're gonna emerge on the other end made them not as big in your eyes? The challenge not seem as daunting as it once was?
100%, man. I'm a bit blunt with how I speak sometimes and stuff like that. But to put long story short, and the reality is this: like, processes, policies, procedures, laws, statutes have all been created by groups of people, and these same people have got to do what every day, or maybe every 2 days, depending on their digestive system. They got to sit on that same toilet just like me and you. You know what I mean? And they just got to make the same noise and it stink out the same room. You understand what I'm saying? So don't think these people are some arbitrary Illuminati type people who are too strong and too powerful for you to ever challenge. They got to do exactly what you've got to do. They have to pick up breakfast every morning and eat. They have to drink water or they're dead. And when you start to really simplify who these people are who hide themselves under organizational practices, you start to realize that you and them are one and the same, just that you might be that little bit better than them. Why? You have morals. You have grounding. And these people only live by the morals of whatever the policies say, which changes here and there, here and there. I'm steadfast.
Yeah, man.
But do you also think that, like you said about morals and grounding, that's what they use against us sometimes?
Yeah. And not only that, we talk about people from the Windrush or people who are not necessarily as clued up to this side of the world than the Caribbean or the African side of the world. Yeah. They don't know how this system works, so they become a victim to it. I've got friends who I've supported when it came down to organizations who took advantage over the fact that there's a cultural difference, there's a dialect difference, there's an understanding difference. And they've taken advantage of that by not being fully clear or clarity as to your rights. So then you enter there in our environment and you're privy to whatever they say, and you seem to think you have to do exactly what they say as and when they say it, and you dare not ask them for anything, you dare not challenge them. Challenge them, man. Listen, go online and look up the law. Go on the website and look up the policy and then hold them to account. Because if not, it's not just about me. In my example, it's not just about me. I'm a black man working for wherever. Should I leave and not challenge these people on what they done to me? What's going to happen to the next black woman or the next black man that comes in my place?
There you go. And there you go.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I want them. I want them. Should they? Because they might not choose to employ one because they might think, forget that. If we've got to deal with another K, forget that. But what I want them to realize is that there's a new day for black people, man. And the new day is this. You can't fool us anymore. We are not under your whip. We're in slavery still, of course. We have to work in this capitalist society to try and build and grow. Part of one SAF is trying to get out of that, be self-sustainable. But knowledge building, man. Knowledge building is key, and challenging these organizations is key. Get into a union. If you don't have one, get into one. I had to learn the hard way. The hard way. Read up on your policies, read up on the laws, because then when they do something wrong, call them on it.
Even just
read up on your contract. Hey,
there you go.
Yeah,
real.
There you go.
Yeah, man.
That's the thing. Like, but the only question I've got is, how about yourself, brother? Just doing this, it's got to take its toll, because you're fighting a battle not just for yourself, but for the future people who might not even know who you are or even appreciate. So why do it? Why not just leave and go to another organization?
Gee, you know what? I question that myself, man, because my biggest critic is in that mirror, man. In that mirror, I have to face that man every day and say, what the hell you do, man? What did you do yesterday, man? You do nothing yesterday. What are you pushing through this for? What's the end goal? I have to question myself at every turn. Sometimes I don't like the answer. Yeah, but what's the overall goal? The overall goal is learning. And once that is learned, pass it on. Do you think I'm sitting here for days and hours writing all these documentations, reading everything, and I'm not keeping that? I'm keeping it, I'm saving it, I'm uploading it to a drive that's accessible. Why? Because should I drop dead now, everything that I've done is just done away with then. I might as well have not gone through this. It's not happening, man. They are not putting me through hell. And no one's going to learn something from this? T then asked me about the impact on me. It's horrible. It's horrible, man. This is not me marrying someone, giving my love to someone and agreement for my whole life. This is not me.
That's debatable, by the way. That last comment that you made is debatable. Not giving love in that way, but you are still giving love in a different way, based on you know what I mean?
I see your point there. But that wasn't my point. But I see your point. I don't have my own soil that I'm growing and planting crops in, unless you have a metaphor. I'm not doing an ancestry in an environment where I'm bringing my family together. I'm going through crap, and I'm having to deal with people who I don't ever want to talk to ever again for the rest of my life. And I'm staying in the room because it's not about me. It's not about me. I don't care too much about the outcome for me, for K. It's about, what have I taken from this? Okay, boys, here's all the info. This is the process. How can we incorporate that to be a benefit to us? And then you go take it to your people, to your children, to your family too. Mm-hmm. So guess what? They can't do this again to us, man. And if they do, they're going to pay for the privilege. They're going to pay for the privilege of trying to harm any of us. And other nations do this, man. Look at our other nations. You try and touch them or speak about what they hold dear to, they come out as a group. You've touched one, you've touched a group. We've got to do the same.
Yeah.
If you touch one of us, you've touched the group now. So watch out. And if you touch one of us here in one sack, in Kinsman, you didn't just touch one of us, you touched the business.
Yep.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? So you have to go through the fire, man. You have to get burnt. You have to feel pain. You have to have sleepless nights. You have to feel stress. You have to have issues. But after all of that, as long as you stay on path, it's going to come to a good end. And that good end, you might not get to taste that fruit. You might not, but it's okay as long as one of my own tastes it for me.
And that's the point. And this is why we do what we do. And this is why I'm glad that we're back, man. Because it was like is because there's two things to that. Like, we'll talk about, so what you just mentioned there about the things that you have to go through, we'll cover that as well, people. Like, we'll go into more depth about that, because not all of it's nice, but we need to make sure that we've got a solution and that we've got answers to kind of to heal anything that happens that way. But also, Kay, you said, and you're right, like, it's not about you, but the beauty about everything that we've discussed so far tonight, I can honestly say all of our experiences, from Jay to T to myself to yourself, like, when you really deep it, there's an element of it's not about me in all of everything that we've said, that we've been doing, and that
I
we've
was
done.
literally going to say the same thing.
Individually and collectively.
We are all building from different sides.
Yeah.
To the same point.
That's how you
got the same point.
You know what I mean? So, like, there's, even amongst the ups and downs, the direction is the same. And I'm just looking forward to kind of just sharing more experiences, more kind of angles, where to know today, how whoever's listening, whatever time you listen to this podcast, like, you might think, well, I want to know more. What else are you talking about? You'll get it. We'll cover. We're going to cover. This is what season 3 is about now, and we're ready to kind of just share and expand, because it is about knowledge. It is about kind of, once we know something, pass it on. Just like that. That's a new slogan. I think that's our new slogan. Like, you got to pass it on. That's important. And this is why we're here, man. It really is. Yeah, man. I'm buzzing that we're back. Before we wrap up, guys, K, T, J. Jay, I'm going to target you first. Just before we go, and just before we kind of let the viewers know where our website is, what can people expect from you and us for season 3? But what can I expect from you, Jay?
For me, sharing more experiences, the good and the bad. Like you said, as I learn knowledge, I'm gonna we document it, and we're gonna make it available to pass on. So if people are interested in agriculture, especially doing agriculture on this part of the world, the Caribbean, if you're from Caribbean descent, and you want to learn more, you need help, you need links, you need ideas, I want to be that person that people could always tap into for that extra helping hand. And throughout season 3 is just going to be more of the same, sharing examples, sharing experiences, and showing people that we're about this. We're about building this table, and we're about making it successful, and we're about our people. We're about spreading that love. It's all about love at the end of the day, and that's what's going to keep us going.
Nice. T?
Yeah, man. For me, it's got to be more kids. Nah, I'm joking.
Exclusive tonight.
Read in between the lines, people. Read in between the lines.
Nah, I'm joking. I think for me, it's got to be more building, man. Just more building. Like, you don't understand the feeling you get after achieving a goal. I'm chasing that drug now. I'm chasing that. So you're gonna get more builds, for sure. We're gonna plan more things. We done it an away day, or an away weekend rather. For us as men, we have to do more. as family. We have to do more as men with our kids, so they see how black men can actually coexist in one room, one area, and not fight each other. Just meet and actually network, get people together who are from different parts of the world. I'm a massive advocate for relationships. So definitely 100%, you're going to get to see a little bit more of that. A little bit more of sharing experiences. Season 3 might be the one, man. We might have to touch on some subjects that are hard hitting, subjects that
Absolutely.
we don't even talk about as men. I think this might be the one, boys, that we might have to talk about it.
Okay.
So that's from me as a group. Buckle up. You'll see.
Yep. Mr. K.
Yes. Boy, expect more warfare, man. Expect more warfare. Boy, I have to go with the biblical thing in Romans. If you know, you know about having that girdle, picking up your armor, and your word being the sword, man. It's warfare, man. That's all you can expect from me. To cover yourself with the armor and be ready to strike with your sword, man. Because life is about war, man, whether it's a minor thing or whether it's a major thing. You have to be able to not only secure your goods, but you should be able to protect it at all costs. Yeah, and that's warfare. That's warfare. You don't build up a town and a nation and a kingdom and just leave the doors open. There's no warriors or security whatsoever. Anyone can just come in and do what they want. You're going to lose your kingdom. So once you establish yourself, be ready for war, man, because people are going to want to take what you have, man. Believe that. Yeah. So that's what you can expect from me, is more warfare. Die in your shield. Don't drop without swinging. And that's a metaphor for many different things that you're going to hear.
Nice. And just to wrap that up, from me.
What about you, Em? Yeah, I was about to say, what about you?
Yeah,
Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
Draw them out.
Nah, it's not even that. Like, I'm a different person. Like, I've got a slightly different mindset, and I'm a different person to who I was and what I was in season 2. Not completely, but circumstances create different energies and different mindsets. So hopefully, whether it's positive or constructive, whatever, hopefully I can share more of that as we go along, and explain the reasons to why I've got to become that person. So hopefully the episodes on certain topics will give you more of an insight, but also to show growth as well in terms of mentally, physically, everything, spiritually. Hopefully that will come across as well. For us as a collective, I think we've mentioned a few things before. Yeah, like, even with just what we're building, we've got merchandise coming along, which you'll be able to see. Check all the links below. The main source to get that will be on our website. So it's just to repeat that, www.onesaf.co.uk. You'll be able to get all our latest merchandise on there, on our store. And yeah, just honestly, really good to catch up with you guys. Like, and when I say you guys, I mean the listeners, but also the guys that we've got here. As a reminder, please hit that like, share, subscribe button, because it helps. Once again, big up to our existing subscribers and followers and listeners, but also the new ones that came along. Really boosted up there. Our socials are our socials. You can find us. Our main ones: YouTube, Instagram. All the links will be in the description as per usual. And as we said at the top of the show, so to speak, the intro track was Palance from the Life Is UKG album, which you can also find on www.wearekinsmen.com /Jerome the Chef. we'll keep reminding, we'll keep sharing. Like, you won't lose anything. It's all going to be there, people. And yeah, looking forward to the other episode 2. It will be coming soon. 2 weeks time, you'll be hearing episode 2, and then we'll let you know what we've got to say. So yeah, it's been a pleasure. Any last words from the boys before we roll out?
Yeah, man. Lastly, obviously, we didn't acknowledge have a big build that has happened. For you, M man, we have to say congratulations for our baby girl.
Yes.
That's a massive build.
Wow.
But yeah, man, like that's massive. We're growing, we're building, and we're growing.
Yeah.
So, congrats, my brother.
Yeah, blessings, man. We'll talk on that on another. I'm sure we'll come across parenting and children, and we'll
100%.
definitely go actually in season 3. So we'll elaborate on that. But yeah, it's been a journey for sure. Very different to previous, because I'm just in a different space, a lot older, wiser. But yeah, man. Yeah, appreciate that.
Yeah, man, a little blessing there, man. But she did throw up on me. I will make that dead clear.
Good.
She did throw up on me.
I think you might
just
listen.
Listen. Just like you prepare for war, so does she.
Yeah, man. You understand? Yeah, man. Yeah, and just to say as well, when M said about you guys, the listeners, he wasn't just talking about men. He understands we have a female audience as well. It's just a matter of speech, a term of speech. You guys meant everyone listening. All right, so don't worry, women. We actually got you out there too.
And
right?
they them Z.
That sounds like another language to me, but that'd be another episode, all right?
So yeah, sit tight. We're here now. We're back. So yes, thank you for listening to episode 1 of season 3. Season 3, man, like season 3. I still remember season 1, but season 3. It's all good. We'll speak to you soon. We're out.